Batter up.
Rob and Chris, they're on the air. Yankees, Mets, they're everywhere. From the Bronx to Queens, the diamond gleams. MLB talk, the ultimate team. MLB is the place to be. Rob and Chris with the pitch you'll see. Swinging stacks and stories fly. Baseball talk that's amplified.
And welcome to a new episode of NY MLB Talk, which our hosts Rob and Chris, as we cover the Mets, Yankees, and all of Major League Baseball. And if you're on YouTube right now, if you can, hit that sub button. We really would appreciate it. And also, if you want to follow us on TikTok and on Twitter, it's at NYMLB Talk. And also, Rob is at R Maraska, and myself is at CP7NY. So, Rob, what's going on? We're both not happy about today's game, so
No, we're not, and we'll get into that. But let's start with the Yankees. Garrett Cole's back, so he pitched pretty well tonight. Why don't you give me your thoughts about the game?
Yeah, no, he pitched great. You know what? It started off not so good for him. He got a little wild. He walked the first couple of guys, but after that, you know what? He settled down. 6 innings, no runs. He looked really good. He probably could have went another inning, but I think they wanted to kind of ease him back. You know what I mean? Like, because his pitch count wasn't that high, but 6 innings, no runs. You can't really ask for anything more than that from him on his first, in his first start back, especially against, you know what? The Rays are the best team in baseball right now, right? So you got to give him that much credit. And after that, of course, the Yankee bullpen gives the game right back. You know, it was only 1-0 when he got out, but they gave up 4 runs in the eighth inning. And you know what? We got 2 back. Yeah. Well, excuse me, 1 back. So we ended up losing 4-2. 9th inning, Aaron Judge got up there as the tying run, hit a ball out to left center, pretty deep to about the warning track, but a little short. So
yeah, I had technical difficulties for a second and everything froze. But hey, Matt's a little happier than we are tonight.
Yeah,
but
yeah, well, he usually isn't.
yeah, I know. But we'll get into that later. So what's going on with the Yankee bullpen?
Nothing good. I'll say it that way. There's nothing good. Right now, Fernando Cruz is probably the only guy that I trust somewhat. Bednar gives up a run. I think he's given up a run in about half the appearances he's been in so far. And you've seen him in the Subway Series give up the home run to Tyrone Taylor, right? Oh no, he didn't give up that home run. He gave up the tying run. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, he gave up the tying run. But yeah, I think he's given up a run in at least half his appearances so far. And the rest of the bullpen, Tim Hill has been not so good lately. Cruz has been good lately. Duvall, a little shaky. Hedrick, who was great early on, he's not good lately either. So Cashman's got to figure something out soon. With Cole coming back, which is great. The rotation is great. You know, no issues with the rotation. You know, obviously Fried's hurt, but other than that, rotation is really solid. It's really the strength of this team right now because the lineup is so inconsistent. You know, if they're not hitting home runs, they're not scoring runs, right? They don't know. The problem with the Yankees, and it's been like this for a few years now or for a while, is they just can't just scratch it out a couple of runs here and there throughout the game like good teams can do, right? Like if they're not hitting home runs, they're not scoring runs. They're not you get a guy on second base and they just can't move him over. They can't get the sac fly. They can't bunt. They can't, I hate to call it small ball because it really isn't small ball, but it's just, they just can't do the little things. They just can't get these guys into position and to score them. Right.
Yeah.
That's
it,
Dan.
Yeah. And I just wanted to correct something because I think it's fixed. I'm having a little shoddy connection and you froze for a second. Bednar did give up. He gave up the tying home run by Tyrone Taylor on Sunday.
Oh, right.
Bednar
That was
gave
the
it up.
tying
So,
run, and then you guys you
yes.
walked it off, right? Okay.
Yeah, walked it off with Benj with that little hit, little infield
Off
hit.
a hill, right?
But
Was that off
anyway,
hill?
that I believe that was off of Hill. So
Hill, right? Yeah. Okay. So, all right. But that's really the Yankees right now, with that. And then on the other side, Volpe did stay. They activated Cole and Caballero today, and they sent down Jones and Cruz, who pitched really well. So I think we're going to
yeah,
see him again at some point. Caballero's back, shortstop, and now they're going to try to possibly get Volpe some reps at second base, at least when he's not playing. And we'll see. Possibly, like, to me, with that news today, it opened up my ideas. It opened up my ears for a couple of ideas actually for Volpe. Now, that mean they're going to try to trade Jazz in another month or so and keep Volpe at short? I mean, keep Volpe at second, or does this just mean they're getting ready for next season, because we knew Jazz wasn't going to get re-signed, right? That we know.
right.
He's going to be a free agent after this year. They're not going to re-sign him. So does that mean they're kind of saying, okay, if you want to stay, Volpe is going to be you're going to have to play second base, because shortstop, you got Lombard coming up at some point later on this year, or definitely next year. He'll be our starting shortstop. So I think that's a possibility as well, to keep Volpe around. So we'll see. But listen, if you could be more versatile, that only helps the team out, obviously. And if you could play short, you could play second base, right? Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So that's
Now,
really about it with the Yankees. Other than that, nothing good.
but what's going on with that? With the American League is crazy right now. I mean, all of baseball is crazy, but what's going on in the American League with 5 teams over 500, and that's it?
It's crazy. I mean, the whole American League is wide open at this point. I mean, nobody is out of it in the American League. Like, or maybe the Angels. I think we could put them out of it, right? But other than that, I mean, nobody is out of it in the American League. I mean, nobody. Detroit, I mean, they're 9.5 back in their division, which is shocking at this point. But I can't see the White Sox. Are they going to be that good all season? Possibly. Maybe this young team is going to be it. I don't know, but it's just amazing. The American League is and the National League is kind of wide open too, right? Look at the Central. The Central, top to bottom, is separated by 4.5 games.
Everyone in the National League Central right now is over 500. That's crazy.
And it's going to be interesting. Like, if this stays kind of like this, as you get closer to the deadline, nobody's going to look to sell, right? So the trade deadline is going to be, either really quiet, or you're going to see major names being moved both ways, right? So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and some of these things, crazy equals bad. You're right, Matt.
Yes.
the A's are in first place in the American League West, right? And like you said, the Angels are 9.5 games out. All right, they're not as bad as let's say they're done, but they're not as bad, let's say, right now in the standings as the Mets, who are 13 games out, right? Or Baltimore, Matt. Sorry.
Oh boy, I gotta throw
right
Baltimore.
now it's 13.5, but it looks like they're winning. So they'll stay at 13.5 because Tampa Bay won. But let's talk about Baltimore before we get to the Mets, since Matt's out there for a couple of minutes.
Matt, do you want to?
Baltimore? Baltimore is now in last place in the American League East, which is a feat in itself, because Boston looked like they were really fighting to be that last place team in the East. So what do you think's going on in Baltimore, Chris?
I think everything that could have gone bad for them is going bad for them, right? They had injuries, obviously. Their big trade acquisition last year, Tyler Rogers, the pitcher, he was supposed to be their ace of the staff this season, and what has he done? He's done absolutely nothing for them. The offense that was supposed to carry them. The offense is not doing well, right? Gunnar Henderson at short. I mean, this guy's he should be one of the best players in baseball. And, his numbers are atrocious for right now, right? He's batting .220. He does have 10 home runs, 24 RBIs. That's great. But, .220, your OPS is 687. That's not good, right? Alonso, the big free agent guy, he's got 9 home runs, 28 RBIs, batting .228. You probably expect a little bit more from Alonso with the money you spent on him, right? And so far, they're not getting it. Tyler O'Neill, another big free agent guy from last year, he's doing absolutely nothing. 159. I mean, what the hell? Taylor Ward was brought in a trade. He's got 2 home runs, 14 RBIs, but, I don't know. it's a little bit of everything.
So what do you do? He went deep tonight. Okay, well. So what do you do? Do you fire the manager? Do you fire the manager? Do you fire the general manager? Do you just hang out and wait a while? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is from top to bottom. This is a whole organizational thing too, right? So I'm going to go the other way. I've been talking to Matt a lot about the Orioles too. And I mean, it starts at the top. You got to get rid of the GM. You got to bring in somebody new. He had a couple of years ago, you're talking about the best farm system in baseball, and he's got nothing to show for it right now. He held on to guys too long, and they turned into, nothing great. And thank you. He's saying GM also. So I think it starts there for sure. I think they need a whole regime change, a whole new, everything. They need to clean house, probably going to wait till the off season, I guess. But if anything, if you have a guy in mind, I'd bring him in now, because get a head start on this thing, because unfortunately, it's going to be a rebuild, It's sad, do you think that's where it's going?
Yeah. Do you think Alonso is just trying too hard because of that contract and the pressure is getting to him? Or do you think that, now looking back at it, this may have been a bad contract? We know that the back of this contract is not going to be great, but I mean, is Alonso putting too much pressure on himself, do you think?
Oh, I'm sure. You know what? Not just his contract, but also, he wants to try to save this franchise. He wants to be that guy, right? Wait a minute. They paid me all this money. So now you got that pressure, and then you got the pressure of how bad the team is playing, and you want to lead, that team, into some winning ways somehow, and it's just not working. So there is weight, he's probably putting too much pressure on himself, and the team, the way that they're playing and the way that they're hitting is putting too much pressure on him too, because now it's like, hey, someone's got to hit here, and nobody is, and they need somebody to carry them, offensively, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, let's get to the New York Mets and what is going on with this team. Yeah, well, all right. So they lose tonight 2-1 against the Marlins. Why can't they beat the Marlins? I mean, come on already. Can't you beat the Marlins? You might as well put up the sign, because here I go. Why can't the New York Mets beat the Miami Marlins? Okay, it's been going on for years and years and years. I'm going to talk about 2008. I'm going to talk about 2007. I'm going to talk about last year. The Marlins keep knocking the Mets out of playoff chances, right? Postseason chances. Yep. And they just beat the Mets. Why can't you beat the Marlins? I don't understand what's going on. So the Mets have been doing a little better. Bo Bichette starting to hit. The young kids are up, which I like. I like watching these kids, and it's better than watching these veterans that he put together do nothing. But I figured, all right, looks like Bichette's doing pretty. He's starting to hit again. 4 home runs on this road trip. All right, things are going good. Well, what happens tonight? the Mets have the tying run on in the ninth, and Bichette makes it out. So here we go again. The only one who hit tonight was Soto. He hit a home run. He's hit 4 home runs on this road trip. He's the only one who's hitting consistently. What is going on with these Mets? Chris, as an outsider, tell me, what do you think about this stuff?
Yeah, that's another team that's just a mess right now. And I can't say it too much, right? Because you guys beat us in the Subway Series 2-3. So I can't really make fun of them too much. And trust me, I'm not. But, when you look at the Mets, I think they're kind of, I hate to say it, but they're in between right now.
Right.
They're not rebuilding, obviously. This is not a rebuilding team. But I think they're in between where now they're starting to bring up the young kids, right? And they still want to be, in playoff, contention, but it's going to be hard when now you're putting all this on top of the kids to be the main guys on this team because you have too many injuries, right? You got Lindor's hurt, right? We talk about it enough. Polanco's hurt. Luis Robert is hurt, so that's a
Alvarez.
third of the lineup. Yeah, that's a huge part of your lineup.
Holmes.
Those guys are like Holmes now is hurt, right?
Okay.
So you got all these guys hurt, and you're saying, okay, all right, kid, like you brought up AJ Ewing, right? He played 12 games in the minors, and you're already saying, okay, you're up, you're ready to go. Maybe, but thankfully he's been pretty good, right? Benj is starting to hit.
Right.
So I think, listen, if the Mets can just kind of just stay afloat for this next month until they get Lindor back and until maybe they get Polanco or Luis Robert back, you know what? Maybe they could be, in that playoff hunt when it comes to June or July. But the big thing is, the big goal is, don't worry about, the Braves right now. You can't even think about them. Right now, you got to worry about getting back to 500, right? We've been talking about it.
Exactly.
Get back to 500 by the All-Star break. And you know what? You're back in it. And that should be the goal for this team. Just get back to 500. Because like we just talked about, how many teams are playing 500 ball right now? It's wide open. The National League a little bit less than the American League. But listen, if you get back to 500, you're in it.
You're right. And the Mets finally DFA'd Kimbrel, right? Finally. Yep. And Matt, you're right. Robert,
end, right? This should be the end of his career.
I think so. Listen, guy's a future Hall of Famer. Why don't hang on anymore? You pitched, you don't have it anymore. That's he was 0-2 with a 6 ERA. Okay, 6 ERA. So don't. And I'm laughing at Matt's emojis.
Yeah.
Do not. That's it. But if he clears waivers, the Mets say they would like him to stay in the Mets system. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. But these kids, and tonight was the first time that the Mets had an all-rookie starting outfielder since 1977 with Morabito, Ewing, and Benj in the outfield. And, they're exciting to today. They're just exciting to watch these kids play. But you didn't think the Mets were going to be going through this right now. You thought that the Mets would have a solid team. They would be in it. And listen, they got to get to 500, like you said. They do.
Yeah.
I
think that's the big thing for them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's not much more you could say, except the bullpen's been pretty good. Weaver and Williams have been pitching pretty good now. They pitch pretty good against the Yankees too. So, I can't complain about them right now. It's just the hitting, you got to start hitting. It's, just win series. You should have won the series against the Nationals. They blew a friggin' game and they luckily split the series. But you got to start winning series. And what's with the Yankees? The Mets own the Yankees at Citi Field, Chris.
Yeah, I think the last time they won a series there was 2018 or 2017 or something.
2017, I think. So it's been since 2018.
I don't get it. You know what? And the Yankees have been doing this all year, right? They're not winning series that they should be winning. If you want to become, if the Yankees want to be the, this playoff team or this team that should be in the World Series, you got to win games against teams that are struggling. I don't want to say that are worse than them, but teams that are struggling, right? You gotta beat the Mets. You gotta beat the Orioles, right? You gotta make this happen. When you played the Blue Jays, they just got off playing the Blue Jays. They won the first 2 games of the series, and then they lost the last 2 games, 2-1 and then 2-0. And the last game, it was a bullpen game, and they got shut out in a bullpen game. Like, what?
Right.
How do you not score against a team's bullpen? It's so stupid.
But the Mets and Armand, you are amazing with all your stats. Thank you very much.
I know it was 18 or 17.
2018. Yes. Good. Thanks for the stats on Williams too, Matt. Anyway, so that's going on with that. So Cole, what do you think? Does Cole just start pitching like the Cole when he won 2 years ago? Do you think he's gonna be the same Cole, or do you think the surgery might have affected him? You saw him pitch tonight. I was watching the Mets lose, so tell me what you saw tonight.
Listen, he looked great tonight. He looked a little shaky the first couple of batters. He walked the first couple of batters, but then he settled down. And you know what? I think he had 5. How many Ks did he have? 5 or 6 Ks. He looked really good. I think he's fine. Now it's just a matter of, to me, it's more about the bullpen. And I think that's going to be the interesting thing. Like, what are they going to do with the bullpen? Because they need other arms for that bullpen. They just sent down the kid that they brought up, Giovanni Cruz, who pitched really well. So I'm hoping, we'll probably see him again, because they need guys that could get people out. And right now, some of these guys they're just not doing it. Right. So,
and when they made the deadline trade for Bednar, I really thought that was a good move. I really thought he was going to be the Yankees closer for the next couple of years. And I thought he was going to be good, but he seems like he's having some problems.
Yeah, no, he does. I think he's given up a run in at least half of his appearances so far this season. And Cole struck out only 2. He walked 3. I think he walked 2 guys in the first inning. But through 6 innings, he was great. I mean, he looked really good. He probably could have went another inning because his pitch count wasn't that high. He was getting through. He had back-to-back innings where he gave up where he threw less than 10 pitches. So he looked really good for his first start, since the 2024 World Series, Game 5. Yeah. I thought he did pretty good.
That's right.
But again, the biggest problem is the lineup right now, just not consistent. And we've been talking about the bullpen, right? So hopefully, they could figure something out. And going back to, like, who can you trade for right now? You really can't, because there's teams that shouldn't be in it, but are in it because the league is wide open right now. So you're not going to see trades yet, maybe not for another month or so.
Yeah, and like you said, this season has been so strange so far. And we talked about this before we came on air, but I don't know. It's like a premonition of maybe because there's going to be a work stoppage. I don't know. It just feels so weird. Dan, you're right. It's about their hitting too, which I want to talk to you a second about Judge. Judge is he's running out of time for the Yankees to win a World Series. With him as the captain, he's running out of time. And do you think that affects his legacy if the Yankees do not win a World Series with Judge?
No, I think he's still going to be, he's still going to go. He's still going to get his number retired. It's still all that. If he finished his career here, which I'm assuming he will, I don't think he's getting traded, and God forbid, no major injury for him. But he should finish out his contract here at the very least. He's going to finish with 500-600 home runs. So he's going to have his number retired. To be in Monument Park. He's just going to be looked at as probably, unfortunately, kind of like Don Mattingly, right? Former captains that didn't win a World Series here. It's as simple as that. Great players, captains of a team of the Yankees, and they just didn't win the World Series here. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope they win one in the next couple of years. But like you said, time is running out. And right now he's gone 11 games without an RBI, and that's his longest streak of his career. His last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
total, I think he's got 1 home run and an RBI in the last 2 weeks. He's in a bad slump. He almost hit one tonight to tie the game at least. He went right to the warning track, but it was caught. So hopefully they could win the next 2 and win the series, because right now they're 7 games in the loss column behind the Rays, which is crazy. And the Rays are a team that's not going to go away this year. They're going to be in it the whole year.
The Rays are pests. They really are.
Yeah.
No matter, every year you think, the Rays aren't going to do anything. And every year they're in it, no matter what. They're really a pest, Chris.
They are. And like, no matter who they have on their team, every season, it's the same Rays team, the same pest. They're like mosquitoes. They never go away. They're just, and this might be their year to really, since it's so wide open this year with no great team, especially in the American League, this might be the year that they could, make it to the World Series. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Everything's wide open. Everything's weird. It just feels, this whole season, like I said, it feels weird. It doesn't feel, and it's only, towards the end of May. And to me, it feels like the season's been a long season so far.
Yeah, it is, right? And we're only through 52, 53 games. So we still got over 100 games left. And we're just sitting there like, it's just amazing. It's just, but as the old saying goes, that's baseball, Susan. And
yeah, so there's some crazy other stuff. Yeah, there's some other stuff baseball.
Yes, that's the Rays.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Okay, yep. There's Armand with their stats. Yep. Yeah, which was good for, which was good for the Mets, by the way. Yeah, really. He's in a slump. He's in a slump. He's going to break out of it. I mean, but yeah, he is.
I look at it this way with Judge, and I'm not saying he's done. I'm not saying he's done for his career or anything, but this is the beginning of like the backside of his career, right?
Right.
Like, especially after last year. One is, second straight MVP. He led the league in batting average, home runs, and everything else, right? I don't see him having that type of season again, right? Even his defensive metrics are down this year. He's -1, outs above average, whatever, so that's starting to kind of climb down a little bit. But just, how we all see it, right? When that player goes on the backside of his career, sometimes they fall off a cliff and they're done, you know what I mean? And they're like finished.
Right.
We just got to hope that Judge's, back end is a gradual, fall and not a fall off a cliff type of thing. And I think it'll be a gradual. I just think, he might be a guy that might need more DH games possibly, in the future, maybe not right away, but maybe that's something that they got to start talking to him and, maybe get him off his legs a little bit more throughout the seasons, kind of save him. I don't know, but it's definitely, we're definitely on the back end. I mean, he's 34 years old, right? Aaron Judge is still a great player, whatever. He's still going to hit 40, 50 home runs. He's just on the backside of his career. And I just don't want to see him fall off a cliff, and I don't think it will because he's in great shape. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, I want to get your opinion and thoughts on some other stuff going around in baseball. Okay, PCA with the Cubs fined $5,000 for an exchange he had with a female White Sox fan during the game. Some people said $5,000 wasn't enough. Some said he should have been suspended. What are your thoughts? Do these guys, when we've talked about this on other shows about the players and thick skin and all that stuff, what do you think? This wasn't his first incident, by the way. He also had another fight or argument with the White Sox fan. What do you think about this, Chris?
Definitely it's not a good look for a player, right? I mean, it's just not a good look. They were selling these outside the stadium today. So without saying what he said, you understand
we know what, yeah. We can figure that out.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good. Players should not be doing that. I know it's hard not to, to ignore these people. The fans, some fans just obviously they go overboard and they cross the line and they say horrible things to you. And unfortunately, they're going to, sometimes they're going to say something back. And you got to be really careful because everybody's got cameras now, right? Everybody has a camera with them now with their phone. So you have to assume that you're being videoed all the time. You know what I mean? You have to assume that someone's got a camera on me and they're videotaping me. So I can't say maybe what I want to say right now to this fan, right? But
right,
they got to learn, and unfortunately he's a young player. He's been up a couple of years now. He should know better. But unfortunately, you know what? Like you said, this is his second incident already. Hopefully, the team has to talk to him and say, listen, you can't do this. Like you just can't do this. You're one of the stars of the team, no less. It's not like you're a bum. You're one of the stars of the team. You're one of the faces of the franchise that we're going to be building around here for the next decade, hopefully. And you're doing stuff, but you can't do this. So
no, I agree with you, especially, with the female fan. I mean, back in the old days, Ty Cobb went into the stands and beat the crap out of a guy who was heckling and yelling at him. But you can't do that stuff now. I don't understand when they're at bat or when they're pitching and it's loud. And I think Chris Benson told us this. They go into a tunnel and they shut everything out and they don't even hear that. They're just concentrating on the batter, or the batter's concentrating on the pitcher, whatever. Why can't they just shut that down? If someone's yelling at you, who cares, really? Who cares? Right. I don't care if somebody's yelling at me. I'm not even a ball player, and they yell at me.
It's just hard. Anyway. It's just hard. You know what? Because I'm sure they say really personal things to you. Because now they can just look up. They can look you up on the internet and find all your information. So they might start talking about, family or something like that. So something that might trigger you. But either way, you can't say things. Especially, you got to just assume you're on video all the time. Someone's got a camera on them everywhere right now. So you got to assume that someone is videoing whatever you're saying to this woman or to a guy, whoever it might be, and you're going to get caught. And unfortunately he did.
Yeah. You're right. Just hopefully he learns from this. It's not a good look. You're right. All right. So 28 years ago from today, I was at Shea Stadium and it was Mike Piazza's first game as a New York Met, Chris.
That's pretty amazing how long ago it was. And this trade, now we were just talking about trades not happening at this time. Think about that. That trade happened on this day, May 22nd. That's pretty early in a season for a big trade like that to happen. And that happened, less than a week after he was traded from the Dodgers to the Marlins, right?
Yes. It did. He only played a couple of games for the Marlins. Yeah, and I was at that game. I had the tickets before he was traded to the Mets, so that was a bonus. I remember like it was yesterday. He hit a double. It was a great game. The Mets won, and Piazza did go into a little slump for a while there, and the fans, he got booed too. And it was, in the beginning, it wasn't the greatest relationship, like he said, but once he started hitting like Mike Piazza, and the fans loved him, he became a Met. And he went into the Hall of Fame as a New York Met, and that's what he wanted. He wanted to go in as a Met. He felt very connected to the city. Of course, the home run after 9/11. I mean, we were on the other show the other night and we talked about that. That's one of the most important home runs in baseball history, Chris.
Yeah, without a doubt. So here, all right, let me ask you this. Do you remember who the trade was for? Who did they trade away to get Piazza?
Oh boy. Was
One was
it
an outfielder.
was it Preston Wilson?
That's one. Pitcher and a pitcher.
Yeah.
There was a player to be named later, and this pitcher.
I knew.
Nobody good. So this is just I want to go over this because. All right, so the other pitcher, was Ed Yarnell.
Yeah, I was right about Preston Wilson, right?
Yes, Preston Wilson. It was Preston Wilson, Ed Yarnell. The player to be named later ended up being Jeff Getz. Who?
Yeah, I forgot about it now. It was Mookie Wilson's stepson was the main guy in that trade for the.
Do you remember the Dodger trade was better for Mike Piazza?
Yeah, the Dodgers. Yeah, because the Dodgers. I'm trying to think.
And the Marlins. Remember, I think that was after the Marlins World Series. Right?
Yeah, that's when the Marlins dismantled the team, right?
Yeah, they were in '97 and then '98. So think about this. Mike Piazza was traded along with Todd Zeile to the Marlins.
Yeah, Todd Zeile.
Now, who did the Dodgers get back? The Dodgers got back Manuel Barrios, Bobby Bonilla, Jim Bonilla, Charles Johnson, and Gary Sheffield. Catcher.
Yeah, that's right. And then Bonilla eventually went back to the Mets, which they're still paying for that, right?
Hey, it's only $1 million a year. That's nothing now.
Yeah,
that's like
Charles Johnson. Yeah, Charles Johnson, the catcher. He was supposed to be pretty good for a while. That's right. And yes, and Sheffield too. That was some trade, really. That was some trade.
Yeah, that was worth it.
But you knew he wasn't going to stay with them. That Piazza wasn't going to stay with the Marlins anyway. So basically,
both trades were 8 days apart.
Yeah, that's the only team he didn't hit a home run with was the Marlins. That Piazza played for, but it was exciting to have. That game was exciting. The crowd that day was really, really, something. It was crazy at Shea that day. I remember because I just got divorced. And I took a girl out on a date to that game. Actually, I'll never forget that. I don't even remember the girl's name, but
whoops.
but that's okay. But I'll never forget that game. It was great to be there for his first game, Chris. So that was 28. I can't believe it was 28 years ago. My hair wasn't gray then.
It's crazy when you think, mine either, but it's amazing how quickly the time goes by. And we're talking about a long career for him, Hall of Fame career, then getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, number retired, all that, and it's 28 years have gone by.
It's like it seems like yesterday. I can't believe it. But we were talking about the Subway Series, and the Mets and Yankees are going to play at Yankee Stadium. And one of the games is going to be 9/11, to commemorate 9/11. And I just can't believe it's going to be 25 years for that.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's unreal, right? That's. You talk about feeling like it just happened. That felt like it. It still feels like it just happened.
Yeah, and it's just time just flying. But anyway, 28 years ago, Mike Piazza, first game as a New York Met, and the rest is history. Who would ever thought when he was playing for the Dodgers that he would end up in the Hall of Fame as a New York Met? I mean, when he was having those great years for the Dodgers, no one thought that. But listen, he did hold a grudge. He did. Listen, he did hold the grudge against the Dodgers, and you can't blame him. And Vin Scully was involved in that a little too, if you remember, because he said some things about Piazza. And Armin, that was a long time ago.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember it? Yeah, look it up. Yeah, Vin. He was pissed at Scully. He was pissed at him. If you look
Oh,
it up.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
because
definitely have to look that up. And also, too, on this date, 104 years ago, the Yankees began construction on Yankee Stadium.
Oh, and that was the true house that Ruth built. Okay,
Yes, that was literally.
yeah, it was. I mean, that's how they were able to build it, actually.
Now we're in the
And
house that Jeter built, right?
yeah, and it's just, to me, the new Yankee Stadium. It's not the same. It's more, I don't know what corporate. What would you call it? It's more like
The one thing I hate about it, and I'll say this forever, is that I hate that they had to move it. You know, if they
yeah,
built it exactly the way it is right now on the same field, I would have felt I'd feel 1,000 times better about it. You know, I still feel great. I love Yankee Stadium. I love that it's got more room to walk around. You know,
that's true.
you know that used to be rough. There's obviously, you know, more food options and stuff like that. There's more bathrooms. Obviously, all that stuff is great. That's why I like the stadium itself. I just hate that it's being played across the street. You know, I
Yeah,
wish it was, but they didn't want to listen. I wish they could have said, all right, let the Mets build their stadium and then we'll play in their stadium for a year while ours is being built or something. But they, you know, they were in competition. They wanted to open it
yeah,
up the same year and all that and whatever. So that's my only gripe about it. Everything else I love. I actually like the stadium a lot. I love all the options that they have there now. The parking sucks still, but other than
yeah.
that,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
wherever any stadium I think has sucky parking, especially when it's expensive. But yeah, I don't mind it. I hate that it's somewhere else.
hey,
What's
Joey,
up,
thanks
Joe?
for Joe. Long time no
Yeah, I
see.
haven't seen him in a while, man. Hope you're doing well, brother.
Glad that you're out there. Yeah, but yeah, definitely, Joe. Both for both teams. Chris, you're right. The good thing about the new Yankee Stadium is the room, because I remember in the old Yankee Stadium when it was crowded and you tried to move move along inside to
Oh, it
get
was tough.
something to eat or drink or even to leave the game. You were just packed in there like a can of sardines. So
Yeah,
yeah,
between that, the
that
bathrooms, there was always huge
yeah,
lines. The food lines were always long. It was horrible. But other than that, like I
yeah,
said, that's what kills me. That it's a different field. That's what makes it
I
feel
get
different
that.
more than anything else. You know?
I get that. All right, so Monday is Memorial Day, and you got that patch.
Yep.
MLB will commemorate Memorial Day with special uniforms and ceremonies. All teams will pause at 3 p.m. if they have a game that's going on at 3 p.m. If not, then they get to pause for a moment of silence whenever they could, if they're not playing at 3 o'clock, which the Mets are, and I think the Mets start at 4. And they're going to wear this patch on their uniform, the red poppy, and also on the left side, that's going to be on the left side of the jersey, and it's going to say, words are going to say, "Lest we forget," which is pretty cool. And the uniforms will not be sold at retail to the public, meaning that this isn't going to be a money grab for MLB to sell these uniforms in the stores. What they're going to do is they're going to auction off, I guess, the uniforms that the players wear that day and donate the money to military programs. Yes, it's 410. Thanks, Armand. Which is great that they're doing that. So they're not going to sell any of the uniforms in the store. They're not going to have copy uniforms or anything, Chris, which is a pretty good idea, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. You know, and it's going for charity, so I'm sure to go for families of soldiers that have passed on or something, or that are wounded or whatever. But you know what? I think that's great. You know, if I would, yeah, I mean, if they could sell them, you know, not just the auctioned off ones, if they could have sold jerseys that just
And
went for charity, you know, if they could have figured that out, that would be even better. But you know,
yeah, that would have been good too. You're right. I just wanted to say, if you guys didn't see our interview with former Major League pitcher Jim Kern, check it out on YouTube, because Chris, how great was that?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, that guy had some great stories. You know what? It's great that when we talk to former players, and we have a few of them already. So if you haven't, if you're new to the show or whatever, definitely check out our YouTube page, NYMLB Talk. We have so many other so many other former players that we've spoken to, and we've gotten the best stories from them. And you're not going to hear those stories like anywhere else, because no one else, they're not saying it to anybody else. They're not on MLB Network, or they're not on ESPN doing interviews. They're doing interviews with us, and I think it's great because they give us stories that no one else has. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and their stories are great. Okay, they have stories about when baseball was baseball, when these guys just, they were great. They hung out with each other all the time. It was just a different type of game. And Chris is right. If you haven't checked out our show before, if you go to our YouTube page and subscribe, check out the interviews, because we have a bunch of former players. We've been lucky. We've been getting former players coming on this show, and every one of them has been great. Yeah. Like Chris said, their stories are great. We don't have to do much. We ask them a question and we let them talk. We let them just go. And it's just great, and they love doing it, and it's a good time. It makes the hour go, it flies by. So definitely check out some of those other interviewers, players, and we even had Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster on the Munsters. On his stepfather played for the Yankees and the Angels, and Chris, that was great.
Oh, that was. I mean, you talk about stories again that you're not going to hear anywhere else, right? When you have guys like that, and it's just incredible. We had Ernest Dove on not too long ago talking about the Mets prospects. That was awesome. If you're a Met fan, obviously Ernest Dove is one of those guys you gotta be following anyway. But we had him on, and we had him on for a whole show, and just talking about the Mets, farm system and prospects who he thinks that they are going to be coming up at some point this year. I'm going to put up here. I'll put up our page on YouTube just to show you all our shows. Remember, we do the 2 shows a week. Plus, we do the Clearing the Bases show. Definitely check that out. We have so many. We had the Ferry Hawks, Staten Island Ferry Hawks GM, told us how he got into the whole baseball, from the business side. I think it's great. We've had so many great guests. We had Dan Russo, who's a great Yankee fan, who's a fan of our show. It was great to have him on. That was awesome. That was one of my favorite shows. We had Rick Lewis, like you mentioned. We had our Bill the Puppet, right? I mean, that was great.
And we had former Mets pitcher Chris Benson on 2 weeks ago also.
Yeah, Chris Benson, Brian Tolberg. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, listen, we're a cool show to just listen to. We're not going to give you all the numbers like everybody else, get into analytics. Yeah. We just talk baseball. If you like that, this is the show to check out for sure. And if you want to come on and hang out with us, let us know. And
we're going to do. When we had John D'Acquisto, former Giants and Padres pitcher, on, we actually had some of you guys ask him questions live. We're going to do that again, definitely, because that worked out so well. It was really good. So we're going to do something like that again. So check out our pages. Now, I wanted to get to a little number controversy with the New York Mets, Chris. And it's the number 8, Gary Carter's old number, also Yogi Berra's old number, but Gary Carter's old number. The Mets, for some reason, gave it to rookie Nick Morabito this week. And man, did it start a controversy out there on X and everywhere on talk radio. Fans were pissed that they gave Carter's number out to a rookie. And you know what? They're right. Carter's Now the Mets never retired numbers, Seaver, but they didn't retire a lot of numbers. Mike Piazza, and then once Steve Cohen took over, they started to catch up a little, which is good. Gary Carter's number should be retired as a Met. Now, some people say, well, he's a Montreal Expo, he went in the Hall of Fame as an Expo. Gary Carter wanted to go into the Hall of Fame as the New York Met. He pleaded, but they wouldn't. The Hall of Fame didn't go for it. They wanted him to go in as a Montreal Expo. So he had to go in as an Expo. But he always considered himself a Met because of the 86 World Series championship and just the way that team was. And he wanted to go in and he wanted to be remembered as a New York Met. So I think all he brought to that team, all right, he was a co-captain with Hernandez. You've got to remember that. He was a co-captain, so he was a Met captain. The Mets wouldn't have won that World Series if Gary Carter wasn't on the team. So I think that the Mets should retire Carter's number. Then also they should add some kind of asterisk to number 5, David Wright's number that's retired for Davey Johnson, because Davey Johnson, no Mets manager has won more games than Davey Johnson, and he won a World Series. Gil Hodges won the first World Series in '69. His number is retired. I think that somehow they have to put Davey up there with Wright and retire his number. So those are two things that the Mets have to do. Then they could calm down with the retiring of numbers for a while, Chris.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It was I didn't understand it either, giving the kid the number 8. I totally, and it wasn't even his number in the minors, right? I think it was number 7 was his number. So it really made no sense. Like he wasn't. I don't understand. Like he's not even wearing the number. Give him some high number. Who cares what the number is, right? Like
exactly.
He's a kid coming up. Listen, best case scenario, the guy goes crazy and he has a great season. Then in the off season, he picks a number that he wants, right? So it didn't make sense. But Armand saying the only reason he went in as an Expo is because they got moved to Washington. I think Carter is the last player in the Hall of Fame as an Expo. Probably, yeah. I mean, who else?
Yeah, that I agree with that. That's what I think it was, Chris. And also, listen, then and people are saying, well, Carter didn't play enough years with the Mets, but listen. The Mets retired Willie Mays' number. Willie Mays played 2 seasons for the Mets, okay? I mean, it's Willie Mays, but look, Gary Carter's Gary Carter. And Gary Carter did a lot for the New York Mets. And I think that's something that the Mets have got to do. And I think now that with all this controversy and they pulled the number, which, by the way, you're right. Why didn't they just give the kid? And the excuse was the lamest excuse I ever heard. They said, well, it was because we were on the road and we didn't have that many uniforms to choose from.
What are you have the number about? 8 laying around?
Yeah. What was it? Laying around on the ground? All right, listen. It's either 8 or 88. So what are we going to do?
Right.
I mean,
some crazy
what are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking?
You bring a kid up, you give him any number you want to give him. You say, here, you're wearing number 94. And he can't say nothing. If he says anything, you're like, okay, would you rather wear number 7 in AAA or 94 in the majors? That's your choice.
And the kid wouldn't have said anything. They gave him 55. Right. But to tell you the truth now, Chris, higher numbers are getting more popular. I'm seeing more higher numbers now than I've ever seen. And I wouldn't mind having a number in the 80s if I was a player. What do I care? Right. I'm in the major leagues. Yeah. That would be great because that would be my own number. Give me a number that no one ever wore before. Give me number 81.
Rob, that's the other thing I don't get. I see players in all sports. Oh, I want this number. This number's retired. Oh, but can I have that number? No. Why would you want someone else's number? That number, especially if it's retired for a player. Okay, Gary Carter's is not. But Mets fans know number 8 is Gary Carter, right? Do you want to wear number 8 too? People are like, oh yeah, that's Gary Carter's number. It's never going to be your number. It's always going to be, oh yeah, that was Gary Carter's number. If you wore, like you said, if you wore your own number, whether it's 55 that Morabito's got, or if you got some other guy's number, you know what, or some other number you picked, it's not going to be someone else's number. It's going to be your number for forever. Especially if you become this great player and they end up retiring your number, like it's your number. I never understood why you want to wear someone else's number. It made no sense.
And the Mets, yes, you are absolutely right, Armand. And the Mets have been known to do things like that. Like they gave Gary Carter's numbers. I mean, Keith Hernandez's number 17 out a couple of times, right? They gave Doc 16. All right, the problems with Doc. They gave Strawberries 18. I think Darryl Hamilton, somebody wore 18. I can't remember who it was, but they did that a couple of times. Then they fixed it. You know what? I agree with you, Chris. I want my own number. I don't want a number that, people are going to think of someone else. Give me my own number. Let me make my own name with it. So I agree with you 100%, and I know like with the Yankees numbers and a lot of other numbers, the numbers are getting higher, but who cares? It's not. In the old days, I think it was an insult if they got a high number,
Yeah, exactly. But because you were just coming up and all that from the team, and I get it. But you know what? Who cares? I don't care what number you give me. As long as I'm in the majors, that's all that matters to me, So I don't know.
Hey, why didn't they give him number 20, Alonso's number? I mean, Alonso's number 25 now with the Orioles. So, why would they give him Carter's number? I'm kidding.
Listen,
about
a lot
Alonso's
of people.
number.
I just looked. A lot of people wore the 18 after Strawberry.
A lot. Name a few of them. Name a few of them. You got it up?
Yeah, I just lost it. Hold on. Saberhagen with one.
That's right. Well, he was Darryl Hamilton one of them? I don't know why.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yep.
He was, right?
All right, I'll go from the beginning. You had Saberhagen, Jeff McKnight, Jeff Barry, Kevin Robertson, Kashiwada, Todd Haney, Craig Paquette, Darryl Hamilton, Jeff D'Amico, Marlon Anderson, Jose Valentin, Moses Alou, Jeremy Reed, Igarashi, Travis d'Arnaud, Rajai Davis, Ryan Cordell, Jose Peraza, and Nick Plummer. That's crazy when you think about who that number was for. Who that number, and even number 17, they gave that one out too.
And that's great. Do you have the number 17 guys?
Yeah. You know who all right. I'll give you a quick question. Who was the first Met to have it after Hernandez?
Was it Coney because he wanted to?
Yes.
Yes. It was Cone. I knew.
It was Cone. He had Jeff McKnight, Saberhagen, Brett Main, Louis Lopez, Mike Bordick, Kevin Apier, Kama Uramama, Jason Anderson, Graham Lloyd, Wilson Delgado, Dae Sung Koo, Jose Lima, David Newhan, and Fernando Tatis.
And it's a couple of those guys were when Hernandez was doing the Met game, so that's crazy. But I knew it was Cone. Cone did it, out of respect for Keith. So that's why Cone did it. But I forgot. Yeah, Jose Lima. Oh man, I'll tell you, Valentine.
Who are the only? Yeah. All right. Before we go, I'm going to ask you one more question. Who are the only guys to wear number 0 for the Mets? There's 6 of them.
Oh well, one of them pitched for the Yankees.
Yes.
Okay. So
2 of them did. 2 of them did.
2 of them. Who's the other one? I can't.
Ottavino and Stroman.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot Stroman wore that too.
And who was the most recent one? He's hurt right now.
Who? Robert's wearing that?
No, Mauricio.
Oh, Mauricio. That's right. How could I? Forget
and the first
Mauricio?
3, I'll tell them real quick to you. One was Terry McDaniel in 1991. Ray Ordonez for 2 years.
I know Ordonez wore it. Yeah.
And Omar Quintanilla.
Quintanilla. Yeah, big star.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well,
Yeah.
he's known for something, right?
I forgot Maurizio wore it though, because I forgot about that. Yeah, that's funny. Well, we're almost out of time, so I got to go. What did he put up?
He said Robert wears number 88. Yeah, Luis Robert.
Yes, that's right. He wears 88. Yes, that's why he's not wearing. We know that's why he's not wearing it in Baltimore.
And he wouldn't want number 20. At least I don't think.
Yeah,
so,
he wouldn't. No, he wanted his own number there. All right. So anyway, another fun show, Chris, with just me and you. Sometimes we need a show without a guest, so that we could talk.
Get some of this out. Get some of this off our chest.
Yeah, really. Anyway, yes, that's right. Thank you, Armand. Listen, he's our statistician over here, Armand. But anyway, all right, guys. So Memorial Day is Monday, so we will not have a show Monday. We will have a show Tuesday at 3 p.m. So here's our schedule. Tuesday at 3 p.m. Then Wednesday night, we have the 9th inning of Clearing the Bases at 8:30 p.m. This is the final one of this series. So it's the 9th inning, and then we're going to do a different. I think we're going to change the format, and we'll see what that is. There's a couple ideas going out there. And then Wednesday night at 10 o'clock, we are going to be on the South Florida Network once again, Chris.
The return,
Tribune, South Florida Tribune. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're gonna be on their show on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. So Wednesday we got the quiz show, Clearing the Bases, and then we have that show. So yeah, we're gonna be busy. But then Friday night you can put that up. We have a great guest on Friday night. I can't wait for this. At 10 p.m. we have Marshall Garvey, author of Interstate 85, the Royals, the Cardinals, and the Show Me World Series, which was really, one of the best World Series in the history of Major League Baseball. And we're going to talk to him. He had interviews with George Brett, Ozzie Smith, and a lot more. So I'm looking forward to that show next Friday night.
Definitely. No, me too. Whenever and that's another thing. When we have the players, they give us great stories. When we have the authors, when we had Eric Sherman, great, Gene Locklear and Jay Thomas, great stories. Getting back to our former shows, our previous shows, awesome. So definitely don't miss that one, because we're gonna have tons of stories that night.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's a week from tonight at 10 p.m. and we'll see what shape the Mets and Yankees are in.
Hopefully better
by then. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend. Have a good time, and we will see you Tuesday at 3 p.m.